we can jump right into our top 10 NBA players in the NBA Finals between the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks. So, who would like to get – actually, you know what? We'll give our guests the chance to start this thing off. Do we want to go 10-1? Do we want to go 10-5, like 10-6? How we want to do this, guys? 10-6?
10 to 6.
Yeah, 10-6.
10. Okay. All right. So give you 10-6, and we'll go from there.
Cool. So at number 10, I got Dan Gafford. He's been protecting the rim very well. He's definitely going to be needed in this series, especially the way Tatum likes to attack downhill. Huge piece, a part of the trade deadline. I did not think that him and PJ Washington were going to affect the team that much. So they're going to need him a lot. At number 9, I got Derek Lively. I kind of got scared there in Game 4 when he had that injury. I didn't really know what the injury was or how long he was going to be out. So it's good to see that he's back. Luka's best lob threat, really good passing ability out of the low post. So he's definitely going to be very effective in this series. Kind of forget that kid's a rookie sometimes. He's been playing that impressive. At 8, I got the seasoned veteran, Al Horford. Is past prime, but extreme experience. Whenever there's a big moment in the game, Al Horford, I feel like he always comes through for them. He always does some clutch business that he has nothing to do with. So I feel like I should put him at number 8 out of respect. At 7, I'm putting Kristaps Porzingis. I believe he's a top 5 talent. I believe that he is a top 5 talent in the finals, but his health status I don't really feel comfortable putting him top 5. So with the status, I feel like 7 is a good spot for him. His presence, I feel like, can really affect them. And then at 6, where we're ending it, I got Derek White. He's going to have some tough assignments in the finals. And hopefully he can stay good for them on defense and knock down his shots.
Facts. Wow. I totally get the Kristaps thing. I was going to say, I'm glad you said that he's a top 5 talent because I was like, okay, hold up. Kristaps not in the 100%. Top 5 is kind of crazy.
Yeah, no, that's fair though. Because if he isn't 100%, who knows if he's even a top 10 player in this series.
Bingo. Exactly. So, I completely agree.
I'm also not sure how healthy he is too.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see. So at number 10, I have Daniel Gafford. I think Gafford has clear weaknesses, which is why you can't put him higher. I think his ability to pass out of the short roll was really exposed in that Timberwolves series, especially in the game that Derek Lively missed. So he has some holes, but his ability to protect the rim and to be a lob threat, I think you have to put him in the top 10. At number 9, I have Derek Lively. I think he just does everything Gafford does a little bit better, and he's a little bit bigger. I think he's just clearly the better player than Daniel Gafford right now. Not by much, but I think he does clear him. At number 8, I have PJ Washington. It's been incredible for the Mavericks in the playoffs, especially in the OKC series. Kind of toned it back down a little bit in the Timberwolves series, kind of back to where he is, but he's definitely top 10 in here. At number 7, this one might be a hot take. I have Derek White. I know he's phenomenal. He was a borderline all-star this year, but I don't think this is a knock on Derek White as much as it is propping up the players I have in front of him. And then at number 6, I went with Drew Holiday. Kind of the same thing. If you want to put him in the top 5, can't really argue it. This 7, 6, and 5 for me, pretty interchangeable. They're all Celtics guys. I'm sure you guys know where I'm going to go with number 5.
Yep.
But could change all of them. And any given night, those guys could be not even just the third best player on the Celtics. They could be the second best player on the Celtics. Any one of these 3 guys. So they're pretty interchangeable. I went with Drew here, though.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, I'm in full agreement. The 5 players that I had in slightly different order, but same 5 guys, except for Daniel Gafford, actually. Sorry about that. So at number 10, my boy, Al Horford. Been a big Al Horford guy for the longest time. I excluded Daniel Gafford off my list and instead put Al Horford because of the fact that I think Gafford may be played off the floor in this series because of his inability to make passes out of the short roll. Derek Lively is phenomenal at that, always makes the right decision. Daniel Gafford is not. Al Horford, it's a little tough because he's a 37-year-old now. So Luka and Kyrie may be killing that man in the pick and roll, but nonetheless, he's a 40+% three-point shooter, and whatever they ask from Al, more than capable of doing it, even at his old age. Sorry, Al. 37.
I was about to say, if you're gonna exclude Gafford because he might get exposed. Buddy, Al Horford's in for a long series.
I'll
leave it at that.
I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I don't know.
It could be.
All right, so number 9, PJ Washington, absolute dog. Obviously, he's the heart and soul of this Dallas Mavericks team outside of Luka Doncic. PJ is one of the best, if not the best defender on that Dallas Mavericks squad. When he gets hot, he's capable of going for 25 plus, as we saw in what series was it? Not Minnesota. It was who else?
OKC.
Yeah, there it is. When the Mavs played OKC. So at number 8, I have Derek Lively. I'm very high on Derek Lively. Was considering putting him even higher on this list, but it's tough to do when you have two guys that are as established as at number 7, Drew Holiday, and at number 6, Derek White. So those two are interchangeable in my personal opinion. They're pretty much the same player in ways for the Celtics, but Drew Holiday has become this big man that's 6'3" at times too. So I think they're both puzzle pieces that are interchangeable and will be huge for the Celtics in this series. So there's my 10 through 6.
All right, yeah, I think you guys pretty much all nailed it. I have same names, just in different orders. At 10, I have PJ Washington. Like you said, the leap he's taken as a defender can't go unnoticed, and we know he can get hot offensively for sure. Number 9, I went with Derek Lively. What we've seen from him as a rookie is super impressive. And the fact that Luka Doncic is on the floor with him just makes him that much better to begin with. Could have put him higher, but I just, I'll get into it right now. Number 8, I have Al Horford. Al Horford just had so many big playoff moments that, I'm sure he's going to hit a couple big shots here and there. And, you're going to remember who he is for the Celtics. He definitely, that could be a problem, like him, keeping up with Luka and Kyrie, because he was looking gassed in that Pacers series at times. So
play a whole lot.
Right, yeah, and that's the other thing is he may have to, depending on the status of Kristaps, if how healthy he is and all. Number 7, I went Drew Holiday. Chris, I kind of agree with you. 5, 6, and 7 are pretty much interchangeable. There's arguments for all of them at different spots. The reason I went with Drew at 7, though, is because sometimes he just makes some boneheaded decisions on offense. Like he just chucks up some crazy ass shots, and the two guys ahead of him, you can imagine who they are, but I just don't think they're going to do that.
It too, because he's been so phenomenal so far.
So
he's going
to
just to shoot like 20% from 3 in this series.
Yeah, absolutely. And at 6, I went with Kristaps. Again, Kevin, you hit it on the head. He is absolutely a top 5 talent in this series. No question about it. But he hasn't played all playoffs. So, and what version of him are you getting? Obviously, I'm sure he could use another game off, but it's the finals. You can't take that risk. You got to have him back. But no denying what he offers for the Celtics offense and defense.
Okay, so all right, we'll go 5 through 1 now, and Kevin, it's on you.
Cool. So to kick off my top 5, at the 5 spot, I'm gonna go with Drew Holiday. Guy seems pretty motivated to get his second ring, and he's definitely playing like it. It seems like he's kicking it into another gear. You know what you're going to get from him on the defensive end. As far as offense, I'm not quite sure what we're going to see from him in this series. With Kristaps, his availability just raises so many questions, especially on the offensive end for the Celtics. So depending on that, we could see him have a good role with the offense. But for that alone and his defense, I felt I should put him at number 5. At the 4 spot, I'm going to go with Kyrie Irving. And I have him here. I can kind of interchange him with 4 and 3. So revenge tour is, I think that's something that we're going to be seeing in this series, and that hate with Boston. I'm not really sure if Kyrie feels that hate as much as Boston fans do, but he might want to stick it to them a little bit.
Kyrie feels
at the 3 spot, I have Jaylen Brown at the 3 spot, and with 3 and 4, I feel like you can kind of interchange this. I have Jaylen Brown, and I have Jaylen Brown because I believe he's an all-NBA level talent. He's been playing very well this playoff series, especially scoring. And he did just win the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. So I felt like that was enough to put him ahead of Kyrie Irving. So that's kind of my logic there, why I put him at number 3. Number 2, I have Jason Tatum.
Thank God, bro.
I mean, he has
anything crazy.
Thank God
I
don't
think anyone would have even thought about that one.
I definitely wasn't going to put him at number 1. But Jason Tatum, giving my respect to him here, he is a great player in our game. Definitely top 10 in the league. He's got to stay in rhythm, though. He's got to stay in rhythm if the Celtics want to have a chance. Earlier on in the playoffs, he was really struggling, especially from 3. Seems like he's been picking it up a little bit, though. So we'll see how he plays. They're definitely going to need him. And number 1, Luka Doncic. I feel like that's going to be mostly everybody's number 1. The guy's making a case for a best player in the world. So I feel like really not much has to be said there for Luka Doncic being at number 1,
100% right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My number 5, I had Kristaps Porzingis. Like you said, Kevin, if he's not 100%, might not even be top 10, but I'm just going to hope and assume that he's at 100%. You want everyone to be healthy, especially going into the NBA Finals. So I'm just going to assume he's healthy for now. I put him at number 5. This is a guy, though, who could, and we're going to talk about some X factors, but this is a guy who, if he is 100%, could completely swing the series one direction, like the band.
Like the band.
Like the band.
At number 4, I had Kyrie Irving. He's been so phenomenal he's been so phenomenal this postseason in the way that he's been able to kind of change his roles, not even series to series, but game to game. It's just whatever they've needed every game he's done. If they need him to play make, he's play made. If they need him to score, he's scored. If they've needed him to sit in a chair and play defense, he's sat in that chair and played some defense. So Kyrie's been incredible all playoffs. Number 3, I think you got to put Jaylen Brown ahead of Kyrie. I'm the biggest Kyrie guy there is. I just think what Jaylen Brown's done on the defensive side of the ball this postseason and regular season has to be acknowledged. And I just think Jaylen Brown has more of an ability to be the best player on the floor. Maybe that's just a testament to Kyrie playing with Luka Doncic, where, it's hard to be better than Luka. But we've seen time and time again Jaylen Brown be the best player on the floor for the Celtics. Time and time again. So I just think you have to put him at number 3 just for – I think he has more of a boom potential, especially in this series, than a guy like Kyrie Irving. And 2 and 1, it's self-explanatory, Jason Tatum and Luka Doncic.
Okay, so for me at number 5, I agree. It's Kristaps Porzingis, no doubt about it. If this man is healthy, he's easily the 5th best player in this series. And on nights, he may be the 2nd or 3rd best player in this series. So you never really know with him. And number 4, especially as a Knicks fan, we know that. And number 4, it's Jaylen Brown for me. I only put Jaylen below Kyrie Irving because Kyrie's been there and done that in the finals before as the second guy, obviously behind LeBron James, now behind Luka Doncic. And I think Jaylen, while, yes, he has been the best player on the Celtics at multiple points and has had to be, that's also just because of the fact that Jason Tatum has not always been the best player on the Celtics, if that makes sense. Luka Doncic is a completely different world of talent. Yeah. Jason Tatum is great. He's amazing, and he is going to be on this list soon enough. But I just think that Jaylen Brown has the opportunity to step up more. I think when Kyrie is called upon, he always answers that call on a night where Luka Doncic isn't always having his A game. So I think Kyrie, in my personal opinion, deserved the 3 spot over Jaylen just because he's been there, done that. One of the best big shot makers in NBA history. And then at number 2, Jason Tatum. Number 1, Luka Doncic. It's pretty self-explanatory. I feel like the gap between 1 and 2 is about as big as the gap between like 5 and 10 in this series. So Luka Doncic is just that damn good.
Yeah. So I have Derek White at 5. Like you guys said about KP, he could easily be, maybe not easily, but he could be the 2nd or 3rd best player on the floor in this series at times. But man, what Derek White has done all playoffs and all season with Porzingis out, I just wanted to give him that nod. I also went with Jaylen Brown at 4. Between him and Kyrie, listen, Jaylen Brown is an all-NBA level defender, and he has put the Celtics on his back in points during these playoffs, and he's especially improved. Come on.
Bro, he had a 40-point game.
Yeah, come on. You can't argue with that.
He won the conference finals MVP,
bro.
bro.
Still got Derek White and Drew Holiday there, bro. Let's not say put them on the back. Like we're
all right, whatever.
He's great though. He's great though.
He's especially improved down the stretch of the games, which is, where everyone had their biggest complaints about Jaylen Brown. But Sully, I agree with everything you said about Kyrie. I have Kyrie at number 3 just because obviously we know who Luka is. We know he's been in these playoffs, but he's struggling a little bit earlier in the playoffs for Luka Doncic standards, I guess. And I just think picking up Luka's slack is more impressive than picking up Jason Tatum's slack. So that's why I give him the edge there.
Bingo.
2 and 1, Tatum,
like
Luka,
that.
no explanation necessary.
That was good.
That was
like
a fucking
that.
bar.
That was a bar.
That was a
Come on.
fucking bar.
You hit that.
Come on, thanks. I do
That
this.
was good.
I
That
do
was
this.
good.
Bro have 0 crumbs.
That was good.
But yeah, I
Hot
mean,
water now.
it's a highly talented NBA Finals, obviously, as it always is.
You ate that shit up, man. After all of that.
Oh, after all of that.
After
Yeah.
all that.